Alright, y'all. This is the second video that I've actually posted, but the first one I deleted. So, pretty much, I really just made this channel just for me to kind of document my process and to, at the same time, like, show y'all how I trade and, like, what I do, what I look at, what's my strategy, and that's pretty much what this video is about. So, for right now, I'm looking at NASDAQ. I'm supposed to look at NASDAQ. So I'm looking at NASDAQ. To me, well, right now it does look a bit cleaner now. There was a trend line break, but I don't trade before 8:30. So if 8:29, 8:28, I don't trade before that. I always trade exactly at New York Open, which is at 8:30 CST, and this .02 is just my lot size. Currently, I'm trading on a funded, not funded yet, but I'm doing a challenge on a 10K account with Clarity. Yeah, so Clarity, the founder, like the owner, is MambaFX, and that's who I learned trading from, and that's like, his strategy is basically my strategy too. And so yeah, so currently this is what I'm looking at for New York Open, which is in a minute 30. So I have my entry set right here. I know sometimes other traders within Mamba's community would typically enter like off rip, like as soon as this breaks, but I usually like to give mine just like a little bit of room. So that's why, even though support is right here, I like to give my entry at least right here, just so it actually has like a good decent push, and then I'll enter. Kind of just like lets me feel more confident. Yeah, as for my stop loss, I like to put it like above here. I feel like just as much as like everybody else would put, you know, their stop loss above a certain level of support or resistance. Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing as well. And typically aim for a 1 of 5, but the only reason why it is a 1 of 5 risk to reward is because Mamba gives out a like Fibonacci tool, and this is what it is. So pretty much it just marks out your stop loss, your entry, and then all the green are your different TP levels, and it'll just kind of let me keep track of like, what TP I'm at, and to let me know when I should be getting out and stuff like that. So, but currently this is the setup that I'm looking at for today. I don't think there's news, and I kind of forgot to check, but we'll see. But I'm looking at NASDAQ over US 30 just because to me NASDAQ does look a bit cleaner. It's kind of somewhat, it's not really that clean, but it kind of formed like a head and shoulders pattern. And I really like, oh, this is a sell that I took earlier. It's pretty clean. They both look fairly clean. Yeah, you see why I like to give my entries like a little bit of room, and it's because of this. So maybe some people were to enter it off this, but since I like to give mine a bit of room, I wouldn't have entered off of that. So yeah, NASDAQ seems like it's breaking out right now, so I'm gonna focus on that. You see it's having some sort of reaction to this area, because if we look to the left, there is, a pretty good amount of like support right here, resistance back here, resistance back here. So since it did this, what I think I'm gonna do is actually lower my entry, and I'm gonna lower it because since it had a reaction over here, my thought process is, okay, well, if it can actually do a much steeper push, then it'll kind of make me feel better about entering this position. And yeah, that's kind of like my thought process when it comes to that. So because we got to keep in mind that this support, even though I'm using lines, obviously it's not going to follow it to the exact T, so we have to keep in mind that even though my line is right here, or my support is right here, all of this whole area is support. So you just got to keep that in mind. And I'm gonna just look back at US 30. Okay, so it had a big retracement, big fake out on US 30. We'll see if NASDAQ can push here. I'm using a 20-point stop loss on this trade. And to trade, since I bought an account with clarity, which is right here, I use Trade Locker instead of MetaTrader. Okay, it seems like it's falling now. Okay, I took my sell a little bit early, but it's fine. So this is currently my sell position right now. So it fell a little bit steeper. I'm using a 20-point stop loss. So I'm just setting it up on my tablet right now. And I'm in the position. That's a big retracement. Oh, never mind. Somewhat. Let's see how it reacts. Because again, this whole area is like support, but because we have all this, like literally this whole area. But I'm just kind of hoping that with market open and the volume that market open provides, we can have that push, which it doesn't seem like it's going to. Alright, so it's my first loss, and it would happen on the first video, which kind of sucks. I didn't work out this gold trade. I didn't enter it. Oh, well, it's kind of retracing. So that kind of sucks. Okay, so US 30 actually, hold on, might enter this. If it can break above this, if it can enter around here. It's just a really big candle, that's the only thing. So we have this resistance right here. And if we were to break out of that and continue pushing to the upside, because we have a trend line break here, and you could have entered off this, but I think it retraced like a lot to the point where you would have got stopped out. I'm gonna have, oh, might be pushing. I just want to see how it reacts to this area, and if it continues pushing, then okay. I just bought US 30, so we'll see how this goes. I think I'm using a 20 point. Right. Yeah. Stop loss right here. Okay, just set my stop loss, and it's retracing already. And I just got stopped out. Okay. I can't let that, affect me, like, at all. Because, you gotta trade robotically and, stuff like that. So, today might just not be a good day. We just gotta accept it, which is fine. Also, I'm thinking about making a live account with Liquid. So I use, other than Trade Locker, I use a platform called Liquid Charts. And what I'm thinking about doing is actually just strictly trading crypto, maybe on the weekends, just whenever market closes and it's gone for the week. I already have it set up here, and I've been doing pretty good on crypto. You can see right here, I had this marked up. Oh, kind of faked out both ways, but yeah, you can see that I took this buy. Well, I didn't take it, but I just kind of marked it up just to see. Oh wait, I did take it just on my demo. I took a demo buy, and it was like I got out maybe on this candle because it was like a 1-to-1. I don't really like holding crypto trades. I just don't feel comfortable trading them. So I just typically just aim for like a 1-to-1. So I marked out this trade, that was a win. Marked out this trade, that was a win. This breakout, I marked it up, but I didn't, trade it on my demo or even put the shorter long position. But this would have won. It broke out of this trend line, the support trend line. So it would have broke out of that. Hold on, I see Nasdaq moving. I see Nasdaq moving. Actually, may enter off this. Maybe. Oh yeah, that looks like it's moving. Okay, we just entered again. Now I don't want you to think I'm like gambling. um, because it can kind of look like that. Because oh, I see it moving now. I'm gonna enter. Okay, it lost. I'm gonna enter again. That's literally just a strategy. Um, that's literally just a strategy. So if I see it break out, obviously that's your sign to take it. Okay, we hit TP1. So what I'm gonna do here is actually I'm gonna put stops to break even, so that way I'm in this trade risk free, and it kind of like eases my mind. So I don't gotta stress. And I don't even know if my entry is the same as it kind of is. Yeah. So currently up. I'm not even gonna say how much I'm up there. It doesn't really matter. I'm just looking at this candle and it looks like it's falling really hard. I usually typically try to aim for like a TP2 closure, which I just closed right now. Okay, cool. So I closed somewhere around there. Like it like spiked down here and then it just went back up immediately. So yeah, I closed at a TP2. Good trade. Still not up. Hold on. I might be. I don't think I am. Let's see there. Oh, I'm down $4. But yeah, so the reason why I took this trade again is because okay, like, is this all within 5 minutes? Oh no, it's 10. The reason why I took this trade again is because we broke through support on the initial 8:30 candle market open, right? And then you see it, push back up over here. You see this candle like push down, I think it did, and then no, yeah, it opened right here, pushed back up, and then it started rejecting off of this area, which it could have also been rejecting this little support that we made, because I think if we drag it out, it kind of like reaches in that area. Yeah, so there is an area here, which is resistance slash support. So obviously we know that whenever a floor gets broken into, it'll be now used as a roof. And so, wait, okay, it was the right analogy, just that you can think of support and resistance. So the green is support, and it's supporting price up. So for every time that it reaches this area, it'll go back up, and you can kind of see it here where it'll it'll touch this green line and then it'll push back up, and then the same thing for resistance. So resistance is resisting price to continue going up, and as you see, like, we wicked off right here, which keep in mind, resistance and support is like areas. It isn't an exact line, but to me lines look more cleaner, and just as long as you keep in mind that it's an area and not like that specific line, then you should be fine. And so that's also kind of why I have my entries like a little bit above my resistance and supports. So yeah, so you have this resistance, and when it touches resistance, it'll go back down. That's typically how our like support resistance works. So reason why I entered this trade again is because, and you always want to keep your third trade like the trade that is gonna hit, and so that's kind of what I felt. So yeah, we had this break of structure, or break of support at 8:30. Break of structure, I guess you could have said that. And then we have this next candle at 8:35 open right here at this where it opened, and we've seen price push up. So I was thinking, maybe it might just consolidate. Maybe it's probably just not going to be a good day, or just start looking like barcodes and just move to the right and consolidate. But I did see volume start to kind of pick up, and once I seen it was kind of just it was just pushing, like you can when something is pushing. And you can see that we had our third entry, we pushed back down, and shoot, we're at TP4 right now. So yeah, I mean, same thing could be said for US30. It looks like a good buy. You could also enter off the median of a wick, which actually in this case would have been like somewhere down up in here somewhere. But yeah, I mean, the same thing would have applied to this US30 trade. So we had this break of resistance initially, but it closed under resistance, and since it closed under resistance, it could still be a good level. It's still a good level of resistance. If you want to play it more safe, you can like up your resistance a little bit. So previously I had my resistance down here because we had two touches. You had a touch right here, you had a touch right there. So we had those two touches. I'm like, okay, that's a good level of resistance because every time we reach up into that zone or touch this line, then it'll go down, and that's how resistance works. But if you want to look at this trade and get a re-entry off of this trade, you could set your resistance, raise it up a little bit because I had it back here, raise it up a little bit to like where it's almost ending, the wick is almost ending, so I would put mine like somewhere right there, and then you could did the same thing. So now give your entry a little bit of space, which my space probably would have been right there, and I think my stop loss was 20, but to me I feel like if price was to reach somewhere up in this zone, which is typically what I think of. So what I think of is like, okay, if this breaks out, and if price, sorry I was hiccuping, in this price, it pushes up, it rejects the upside, and it wants to push back down, and if it hits my stop loss around this area after making such a big push up here, chances are it's probably not going to continue pushing up. So that's kind of like my thought process when it comes to setting a stop loss. And so as you see, oh my god, this trade is so crazy. So as you see, had you risen up your resistance and set your entry and all that, you hit a 1 to 2 right here. So and typically a 1 to 2 is what you want to aim for. Yeah, anything greater than a 1 to 2 is great. It's perfect. So yeah, you see now it's starting to reject the downside, which it could probably be rejecting if we like drag it out. You see that there's a lot of support right here up in that area, and it could just be a higher time frame support. It might be like an hourly support that it wicked off of and might be rejecting off of. Yeah, so you can see all the support on the hourly timeline, or on the hourly time frame. You see all the support right here, and it touched it. It like literally touched up into the support and started, and it looks like it's starting to reject it, or at least it's having a reaction to it. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much my strategy, how I trade. Yeah, I wish I took this gold trade, man, but it's alright. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do, what I look at, my thought process, why I do the things that I do, and yeah, so why I enter, how to re-enter, because what I really needed to learn was it's okay to re-enter, and that's kind of like what I needed to tell myself. So even if I got faked out, I did get faked out, I think on the buy, right? We took a buy when this support was down here, or when the resistance was down here, and I like bought somewhere right there. Looked like it was pushing. It was a big candle. I knew that I was taking a risk because this candle was really big, but how are you supposed to reap the rewards if you're not gonna take that risk? So you can see right here, it was a big candle, but what led me to taking this trade was we seen a rejection back to the upside of whichever resistance you want to call. You can either call this resistance or this resistance. It doesn't have to touch this exact area. Well, it doesn't have to like be like, had this candle pushed up to where these wicks are at, that great. But it doesn't have to follow it to the exact T, just as long as it's like if it's within the vicinity, and it has a reaction to it, you can use that information, and then to kind of like give yourself some confluence and make you feel better about your trade. So once I seen that rejection after getting faked out on this initial sell and on the initial sell or buy on US30, yeah, you could use that information. You've seen that it rejected to the upside, so now the candle flipped, and now it turned bearish, and now we push to the downside. And how I did originally, where I said that price touched right here, but then it started wicking off and then it pushed back up, and then that's when I lowered my entry. You could have done the same thing here. That was a crazy stutter. But yeah, you could have done the same thing here. So yeah, you could have lowered it. You could have lowered your entry down here. You still would have caught the move. And yeah, so I didn't want to get greedy. So that's why me personally, I always set a set stop loss or set take profit. I don't have it physically set. I just kind of close it whenever like I see it hit, because had I set a physical stop loss, I think in this case I actually probably would have made more, a little bit more, but yeah, you sometimes don't want to do that, and I say that you shouldn't do that. Only for stop losses, yes, but for take profits, no, because obviously you always hear the saying, you know, you don't want to cut your runner short and stuff like that. So, and that could be the case here. I think a way to like combat that is to trail your stop loss, and I guess we can talk about it. So like trailing your stop loss isn't that hard. We know that whenever we set our stop loss, so say price had pushed to the upside, and actually I think it's a better example here since it already happened. So we enter right here, we seen price hit TP1 right here, and then I told you guys that okay, I'm in this position, price hit TP1, I'm gonna put stop loss to break even. So initially at this red line, that's where my stop loss was. So I'm put it red just to let y'all know. So my stop loss was right here. I seen TP1 get hit, and so I'm like, okay, since TP1 got hit, I'm gonna put my stop loss to break even. So which means that if price was to continue pushing, hit like TP1.5, but then retraces and then hits my stop loss, I don't lose anything because I'm break even. Like I didn't win anything, I didn't lose anything, I'm break even. So, and it's also really good for your psychology, because if you know that you're in a trade, because whenever you enter into a trade, you feel like some sort of like anxiety, stuff like that, and you don't, you know, you may not feel the most confident whenever you enter into a trade. But that's why if you have your stop loss to break even, either like what's there to stress about, you know? The only real stress is like, oh man, I hope it doesn't stop me out like at break even because I want to make something, but that's just kind of like being greedy, you know? So that's why you want to have like a set TP level. And for me, whenever I trade US 30 or like indices like Nasdaq and all them, I typically just try to aim for 1 to 2. Anything other like greater than that, cool, like that's sick. But but yeah, like 1 to 2 is typically what I try to aim for, and that's why I said if it pushes a little bit more, I'm gonna close. And it did push a little bit more, but then it retraced like a little bit. So had I held like for another 2 seconds, swear, like it would have hit like beneficial TP2. But I think I hit like a TP 1.98. So yeah, as well as crypto. I'm thinking about doing like some live streams trading crypto like during the weekend, or just like whenever I'm bored, I guess. I'll just trade cryptos, and usually like they hit a lot. They hit a lot of the times. So there's, for me, I don't really think there's like a specific time to trade crypto. It's typically, I usually just trade crypto whenever I see my setup happen. So for example, right here, I seen the support break right here, and then I would have taken my buy right there, or my sell right there, and caught the sell, and that happened 335. You know, I don't. But then when it comes to like US 30, Nasdaq, and pretty much like any indices within like the US, like S&P and all that, 830 is like the move, because that's, you know, when market opens and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for this video, this session, and yeah, I'm gonna catch y'all tomorrow.